Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Girl Dad Show. Today is a special one for me because I have my good friend and buddy Eric Liu on the line, and he's going to basically be my guest host today and asking me a bunch of questions so that I can kind of catch you guys up on my life and then also just banter. I just love talking to Eric, so he's always a good guy to talk about parenting, life, business, the future, the world, and so would love for to introduce Eric into the show.
Awesome. Thanks, as always. It's really fun for me because I haven't caught up with you in a bit, so I guess I'm going to find out at the same time that everyone else does.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. Thanks again for volunteering to host. I appreciate you.
Yeah. Well, let's just start. Catch me up. It's been a minute since we've
Yeah.
really connected. I think the last time I saw you was maybe when I stayed at your place end of last year. And
No.
we've talked a bunch since then.
Yeah, we saw each other in Chicago recently.
That's right.
Yeah, because I made a bad
Like
bet
3
and I
months
owed you.
ago.
I owed you a steak
That
dinner.
long. That's fair. Okay, well,
Yeah.
it just it just feels like it's been a long time. So
It has.
catch me
It
in,
has.
catch me in.
Yeah, we successfully closed our funding round for Blue Ocean, which was a big deal for us. Yeah, and so it's been really hard over the last year and a half with Blue Ocean. It's like gotten so big, and then it's just been hard, man. It's just been a tough business, and you know a lot about this because I've been kind of giving you updates every 3 to 6 months. But we got really pressed hard by some of the private equity competitors here, Q3 and Q4 of last year, and that really put a damper on our growth and also just our abilities to compete and run. And so it took us a little bit to figure out how to compete against them and or possibly even sell out. And we ended up not selling because the prices wasn't right and the timing was kind of making it even worse, right? Because they were actively compressing our growth and simultaneously like lowering our valuation. And so we were able to get pretty creative and figure out a way to grow without having to compete with them directly. So we figured out alternate ways to grow the revenue. And so once we figured that out, it started moving actually a lot quicker because it was so much more mechanical and nobody was doing the things we were doing. And so we were able to very quickly figure out how to grow this thing, but we needed capital. And so we raised a small round and we closed it in 5 weeks and it's far exceeding my expectations. So it's just one of those businesses that I think needed a lot of capital up front. And we finally had the capital. And so now we're growing pretty good. And by March, if everything goes well, we should start cash flowing for the rest of my life. And hopefully, as long as AI and robots don't take over. But even then, I feel like I'll be so up to speed and caught up with it that I will adapt and adopt those things. But my goal is that, 4 years after I started this business, it should be good. Either ways, what's really good about right now is that I have done my part in it. Now it's my GM's role to now execute. And so he just has to just take it and keep his head down, keep his nose clean, and just operate until March. And then we're basically just a cash flow business. So that's exciting.
I love that.
Yeah.
Where should I start? I mean, first, how does it feel? You've been on this should I raise, should I not, should I sell for so long? Or it feels like a long time.
Yeah.
Do you feel like a sense of relief that you have clarity? Is it where are you?
Yeah, I'm sleeping a lot better. I didn't realize how stressful it was for sure. I definitely have been living in the uncertainty and the ambiguity for a very long time, like 4 years, right? So you just kind of get used to it, which isn't really healthy or good because I think you just don't realize how much stress you're putting yourself in, and then you just muck into it, and then you just get used to the stress level. And you actually need more stress to even feel stressed out, which is probably unhealthy to be honest. And I will say the moment this deal closed and we got first 2 months of data showing that we're gonna basically beat our expectations. So we were hoping to add 11,000 to the MRR. We're adding closer to 15, and the 15 is actually adding even more repair and renovation revenue. So I mean, you know a lot about this, but I'll tell the listeners the pool industry is really around getting routes. So you basically give away this low margin business. You're not giving it away. We're still charging you, but you basically try to get as many people on your cleaning route as possible, and then you're waiting for things to break. That's essentially the business. And so you don't make that much money on the route itself. You actually make very little, but you make your money when something breaks and they call the person who's cleaning the pool. They don't call someone outside, and then you're able to do the high margin business. And that's essentially the business model. So it's been really hard the last 3.5 years. And it's just really interesting how much better I'm sleeping. So yeah, it's been incredibly stressful, and I'm sleeping so much better for the last 2 months. It's been insane. And then the new thing that's really picking up for me is thesis. So I merged my little agency, my finance agency, with my friend, and the merge created like we're essentially now a firm. So we're no longer like an agency or two independents. We're like a firm, and so we're attracting a lot of good clients. We're attracting a lot of interesting opportunities, and we're growing very quickly. So we've slowed down the growth and revenue so we can stack up the team and build out our infrastructure. And I'm headed to Colombia next week to finish out the last part of the build out of our agency. Once we have that filled out, I can go back to selling and building revenue for it. But that business is growing faster than the pool cleaning company. So it's been kind of a maniacal switch. But I am taking 2 months to like just sleep better. And then once this starts picking up, I'm sure I'll get stressed out again about growing this business because it can't be easy either, you know?
I love that. Well, it is the Girl Dad show, so ask, you feel de-stressed. How have the people around you responded? Your daughters, your wife.
Yeah, that's a great question. I've been talking to my wife a lot about this recently, and we've had some really good moments, where we've had really good like clarity and success, and just kind of the successes that we were starting to see over the last 3 months, because it's been a really tough couple of years for Amy specifically. But we've also had some butting of heads, me and Amy, right? Because the changes are so sudden. For like, we were like a middle class W-2 family in California, and then
Now you're rich.
yeah, that's so funny because that's literally what the arguments are about. It's about money, but I have so much empathy for her because I've literally shifted her from stability, and it wasn't like crazy good, but it wasn't like bad, right? Like, it was very like middle class. We're just kind of moderate, paycheck to paycheck. Okay, got the mortgage, went on the 1.2 vacations a year, like the whole like literally like the exact quintessential American thing, right? And then we shifted into complete like not poverty, but very low levels of living, right? We have bought a beautiful house, but it was like a third of the price of our home in San Francisco. And we lowered our cost of living drastically, right? We really, really went down on cost of living. Like, so it's been kind of like scrounging every dollar we can make, and every dollar we have, we've been investing in these businesses. And then now, like fourth year, we're like, these businesses are starting to return money, that we've been nurturing and building for. So it's kind of hard for her to like palette these big changes. In my mind, it's like changes that are kind of happening thematically because I'm in it. But from her perspective, she's not in it, so she just sees it when it happens, and so she's getting these blows every few years, it seems like. And so the conversation around money and finances has been really rough, but overall really good, and we're working through it and talking about it and adapting to it. And then the girls are great, man. My girls are freaking having so much fun, and Lily's a riot, dude. She's like so funny. Grace is so cute, and she's super sweet, and they're both very active and doing activities and making friends. But Lily is just hilarious, dude. You got to see her, man. Her confidence level is like it's Amy says it's like mine, right? It's kind of embarrassing because I'll tell you one story. It's super funny. She's like, "Oh man, Dad, I'm such a good singer." I'm like, "Really good?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, let's hear you sing." And so she puts on a show, and we have a little karaoke machine, a speaker system. So she'll belt her heart out and sing a song, and then she'll come over and she goes, "What you think?" And I'm like, "You're not that good." I'm like, "That's not that good." And she's like, "You love it. You love it. I'm good." And she like walks away. And I'm like, "That's amazing. Just the amount of confidence you have in yourself that you're oblivious to. People literally telling you that you're not good." So I do love that about her, and it's super funny to me. And then Amy thinks that like that's how I am, and so she's like, people will literally tell you that you're not awesome, and you just walk away going, "I'm so awesome." You just keep going. I do not do that, but she says I do, and so I think it's hilarious.
I love that. That's amazing. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the girls again.
Yeah, how are your kids?
Amazing. Mine are great. So Grayson's, I don't know, 3 and change, and Aya's just older than 1. She's like on the cusp of walking. I would say, 3 is just such a fun age.
Oh my gosh, so cute too, and they're just starting to talk.
Like, sub 1, kids are precious and
Yeah.
sweet, but they aren't fun.
Yeah.
Anybody who says that kids like are fun when they're 9 months old, they're just lying. They're beautiful and amazing and precious and sweet and cuddly and
Yeah.
and every day, like, I don't want Aya to grow any older or get any bigger because she's like the perfect cuddle size.
Yeah.
But 9 months is not fun. 3
Yeah.
years is fun. But
Yeah.
somewhere around like now, like, Aya is smiley and giggly and responsive and
Yep.
sassy. Like, she's getting to that point where she's like there's this, every day gets better. So I'm starting to have fun with Aya too now, and I'm very
That's
excited.
funny, man. I actually think it's around 2 years old. That's what I feel like it was more fun when they start like formulating sentences and like bantering. Like, and three is just like hilarious
Yeah, yeah.
because
I'm
you're
not
like
saying
having
like
full
fun
on
is
like,
peak
yeah.
fun. I'm just saying it's like when you can start to see a little bit of fun.
Yeah, yeah, it's freaking hilarious. Yeah, I mean, I love that age, and I will say I love that you said that because it's a little bit of a hot take, but I don't actually, I didn't really feel like a dad or connected to my kids. I just felt like it was like me giving, 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 and I knew I had to,
Mhm.
because it's just my role and responsibility until they turned one. Because I'm like it was there's no I don't know I think I'm built more like transactional, I guess, because like I give and I want something back, and you just have to like feed them, you have to sleep them, you have to change them, you have to do all these things for them, and they have no context of who you are. But then once they start turning one, they like laugh, they giggle, they cry, they like things they don't like. You know what I mean? There's like a little bit more of a response mechanism, and so I don't know if you feel the same way, but I feel like I really connected with my kids after they turned one.
I've heard that. I also have friends. I have this one friend. She's like one of my favorite entrepreneurs ever. She said something crazy to me before Grayson was born, and she said something like, she's like, I didn't even like my son until he was like 10. And I was like, whoa, I don't think you're supposed to say that. And what I really appreciated about it was like, she didn't mean that she didn't love her kid. She loved her kid
Yeah.
very much. But she was like, we didn't really engage in the way, whatever. And now, she has a great relationship with her. She's always had a great relationship. But I think your relationship goes through phases, right? So there's like certainly like the caretaker obligation. You have to do it, and you can imagine at some point like your peers and your adults, and there's transformations along the way. But it was really great to hear her say, "I didn't even like my kid," and like 10. And I have another friend who has he's like written about this. He gives talks at conferences about like mental health and stuff, but he's got this blog post where he talks about how like there's this like I think some sort of delayed bonding mechanism for a lot of men. Didn't feel the same way as that. Like I actually just really enjoyed the beginning even, but I think I personally was rewarded by like the novelty of it, and also just like my personality is like I just really like I'm like a physical touch kind of person, so like cuddling a baby was really great for me. But I think that everybody just responds differently to it, and I do hear.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think that I definitely thought they were cute, but like in the first year, but it's more like I think a puppy is cute. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, it's so cute, so helpless, it needs me. It's like so sweet, it's my thing, and da da da. But like, I didn't feel like it was my kid and I'm the dad and like that connection until there was a little bit of a give and take, and
Yeah.
I didn't like realize it until they turned one and they started responding, and then I'm like, oh. This is what it means. This is it. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, it felt good. So I think you're right. It's just about how you communicate. Yeah.
I'm curious. So you've kind of been on this journey, right? Like this
Yeah.
like, very, very strong little career shift.
Yeah. Thanks to you.
I won't blame, but yeah. So like, you know, how's that shift gone? And you said
Yeah.
that you and Amy have had some conflict around sort of like money or trajectory or the stress and all that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
now maybe sort of with the reduction of stress, you're seeing things a little bit differently. I think sort of two-part question. One is nobody on any journey towards success has picked every single right move. So like what things like if you had changed might have made your life easier, and what things like were the key things that you definitely got right?
I think that I got the timing wrong on a lot of different bets. I pushed and pulled at the wrong times. And so I saved when I should have spent, and I spent when I should have saved. And I think I did that like half a dozen times too many wrong. And that slowed me down probably, I'd say, like 2 years of the 4 years that I've been on this journey. So very significant mistakes, right? And I think I'd be there a lot faster. And I also think that I should have done a better job of talking to Amy. This is the thing that we've been debating a lot, is I underestimated how influential she is to the building of this. It's like one of those things that I didn't even realize it until recently, where I started to feel changes in my psyche because of her hesitation and reservation of some of the things I was bringing her up to speed on. And those little slight like pullbacks, or that little physical reaction, or whatever, the more kind of mitigated words, it would make me literally so insecure and scared that week when I went out into the business and world. And then I'd have to talk to a business partner, and they're like, what are you doing? Why are you saying this? And then they're like, dude, it's not like a job. Like you can't just like not take a promotion. We're either gonna die or we're gonna make it. Like we have, this is our business. Like everything's on the line. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's like not a, it's not like a conservation decision. It's literally like we're risking to go. So we're either gonna go or we're gonna die. So like we have to make it. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm all fired up. And they're like, second of all, we're gonna do it. We're already on track, and these are the things. And I'm like, yeah. And then I'll go back to Amy, and then she'll say a couple things, and I just like get all scared again. Then I'll talk to another business partner, and he's like, what are you doing? And the exact same thing kept happening over and over and over again. And I'm like, I don't even know. Like I started talking to her about this, and then we started talking about how impactful and influential she was. Like just the smallest level of confidence, or like because like the thing with like the I don't know. I mean, you probably don't see it because you're not on social media. But she had me pick up a watermelon, and it was like so stupid because I'm like, oh yeah, right here is this where I'm supposed to grab it and da da da. And then I'm halfway through, I'm like, why am I doing this? Like I don't get like why you need me to do this. And she goes, oh, because you're so strong. And I'm like, that's a great way to get me to do stuff. She's like, man, you're so buff. Oh my God, thank you so much for doing that for me. I'll send you the video. It's super funny, right? She's like totally manipulating me. And it was like the most amazing thing ever. Because like I would have ran through walls after that. You know what I mean? Like I would have like, what else could I lift for you? What else can I do for you? You know what I mean? It was just like so dumb, but like just the small level of like confidence boosting is just like 100 times more than talking to you or my business partner or friend. Or like that small level of insecurity just drops my insecurity so much. And I didn't even think about it. And now I'm like retracing back to the last 4 years, wondering if I should have just brought her along on the journey more because I wonder how far ahead I'd be right now.
Yeah, I love that. Like, thinking about your, wife, partner as sort of the like co-founder for your life, and being really deliberate and intentional about informing the stakeholders that matter and keeping them along for the journey. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Well, there's a lot of stakeholders, but I think there's some that actually literally impact you, like directly, right? Like night and day. Like it completely changes your perspective on things. And I close more deals. I make more money when she's championing me, and I make less money, and I don't do as well when she doesn't, when she's feeling scared or nervous. It's like it's so fascinating, you know what I mean? And just like one of those things that I'm like, oh man, I should have done a better job of bringing her along on the journey the last 4 years, because now I'm realizing it this year and something that we could have leveraged. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
I love that when she hears this.
There was a 2-part question. I only answered the first part. I can't remember what the second part of it was, but
I said like, what were the things that you should have done better or differently?
Yeah.
And, what are the key things that you got right?
yeah, I just listed 2 things that I could have done better. That's not a good sign. The things that I did right, I think, were consistency and blatant confidence. I think the delusional confidence really made me fight through it, and just the confidence that I knew I would figure it out, and the confidence that I knew that I could make it work if I just kept hammering at it and just kept chopping wood until I felled the tree. Do you know what I mean? And we're very, very close to the tree topping over in all these different businesses. And I don't think I would have been here if I didn't have that just pure gumption that it was going to work out. And because every single sign told me it wasn't going to work out, and every single hurdle came up. And I'm not trying to like overestimate my accomplishment here, but it is more than most people do, because I'm trying to do 20 in 4 years. You know what I mean? I'm trying to do 20 business in 4 years, where most people try to do 1 in like 10, right? So I'm trying to catch up to you in 5 years. I'm actually trying to beat you. That's what I'm actually really trying to do. I'm trying to beat your level of accomplishments in 5 years. And so given the fact that I don't have time to mature them, I just felt like I had to increase the quantity 4 or 5x more than you did, And so that was the thesis.
I mean, I just love the notion of using volume to create luck, right? Or create outcomes.
Yeah.
And like you have more at bats and you just do more work. You can't lose.
You can, but you will also win. Yes, exactly. It's so funny because people don't talk about. I have 13 businesses. 7 of them are profitable, and four of them make a shitload of money. But there's like 20 of them that I failed in the last 4 years that we don't talk about. There's a lot of businesses that I messed up.
All of them. Like, let's start with like the ones that are dead.
Yeah.
And then the ones that are like, exist but not great. And then let's finish with like.
Okay. We could talk about some of them. It'll take too long, but let's definitely talk about some of them. But I'm also curious about your concept on the volume thing, because I think the volume thing is also very similar to something that we've been talking about recently, which is like what you put in is what you get out. And for me, the volume is really what I'm putting into my my eco chamber so that I can hopefully get the output based on the volume. And it's a temporary blitz, right? I'm not doing this volume forever. I'm doing it for 5 years exactly, right? And then I'm going to stop because it's unsustainable. Like I'll literally die like in 5 years if I keep this pace up. I mean, I won't literally die, but you know what I'm saying? Like I'll exhaust myself. I think this is too much of a rapid pace, but I do think I could do it for 5 years. And so that's kind of the thesis. But yeah, happy to talk about whatever or move over to your concept of like, and what you put in is what you get out in this kind
We
of
can do
a
it, but just because like we're on like a retrospective, let's do like a
yeah.
businesses that worked or businesses that didn't work, and then the businesses that are doing well, and what you're excited about for those.
Yeah, so I had a property management company that's like the biggest failure. Like I would say, not because of money. I mean, I lost more money in a real estate investment and a lot of these other projects that I did. But the one that was really painful for me that I felt like I really failed was the property management company because everything about it I should have been good at, and everything about it I was like, oh man, it's operational, it's timelines, maintenance, it's ongoing operations and finances, and it just felt like such a obvious business for me to be excellent at. I just sucked at it, and no matter how much I chopped wood on it, it just wasn't that lucrative. It wasn't a high enough margin.
Why? What did you get wrong about it?
I think that I needed to scale a lot more. So it's a much more lower margin business than I realized, and it's also a lot more volatile. So when you're dealing with like short-term renters or even like mid-term renters, you're talking about people that are leaving on an average of 1.3 years, in a space. And so you're constantly having to do more work than you realize unless you go higher up. And then if you go higher up, then the rotation is faster. And then, and then how are you going to get those high-end customers? It's a whole nother schema of things, right? And so trying to ratchet it into a management company really fast was very tricky because unless you have a core business that it's an ancillary service to, I wouldn't start with that. Because the scale that you need to make enough money to even live is just like so small. The margins are really small. Well, at least the way that I did it was. And so I just gave up on it because it was costing me more and more time, not money, actually costing me way too much time. And so I had to stop that one because it was like so obvious. Like I would spend like 20 hours a week on it and make very little. And yeah, sure, you make some, but it just, the amount of the dollar per hour return on investment was like less than minimum wage compared to working as a CFO or COO somewhere, right?
What are some other businesses that didn't work?
Oh gosh, what else did I stop? I have to go through the graveyard for this one. What else did I
Here,
Yeah.
what's going well? What's going well, and
So
how do they all fit in together? In
what's
sort of like
I can tell you how it all fits in together. That's interesting actually, because that's actually coming to fruition, and I'm going to start talking about this more, which is really fun to talk to you about here. Because now I can't think about what other business I failed. I got to ask my internal controller because she'll tell you exactly which ones I failed. She has a whole list of entities and entity formations, and like it's so funny. She thinks I'm a nut job. But yeah, I'm really excited about this because I've shared with people my plans over the last, the 5-year plan. And I've told a dozen people about it when I first started and, with trusted advisors, mentors, and friends. And, for the vast majority, I mean, it's 100% actually. Everyone thought I was stupid and crazy. I mean, not stupid, but definitely crazy. It was just like not going to work. And really cool because I'm like a year away from pulling it off. So I'm pretty excited about it. But the concept is that in order for me to do this many businesses in a short amount of time, I needed an operating system that everyone can follow. So it was easy for me to manage, like a portfolio, or else I wouldn't be able to give all my time to all these businesses. So I started laddering up into what an operating system could look like. And then that operating system became Owners Club, and where I coach other small business owners through the same operating system and then turn that business profitable. And then as you go through the building of a $1 or $2 million business, the goal was originally 1, and over the last 2 years, we pivoted to $2 million in annual revenue. That's kind of the concept now. And as you go to this $2 million annual revenue mark, you have certain things that you need, right? And so like everyone needs a digital marketing agency. Everyone needs a marketing agency. Everyone needs sales. Everyone needs HR. And so I started building these verticals as their own service business and getting ownership in these verticals, and then making each one profitable as I went through it. And then Blue Ocean was actually my first non-ecosystem business to test the ecosystem. So I ran it through the gauntlet to see how it worked, and it broke and didn't work here and then worked there, so I fixed it. And then Rebel June, my tattoo cosmetics company, was the second business, not part of the ecosystem, to go through the gauntlet. And then we're fine-tuning it and building it and making it better. And then this gym that I'm building in Redwood City is the third business that I'll run through the gauntlet. And then if this one works, I'm feeling very confident it will. I'll literally have my own incubator. So I'll have a small business coaching business that'll literally take an owner and help coach them at a 68% success rate to $2 million in annual revenue in less than 2 years. Through that process, they'll hire my marketing agency, my video production company, my sales training company, my HR company, and my finance company. And then once they get to $2 million, they can stop there and they can turn into a lifestyle business, make a good six-figure salary. I cash flow 25, 50K a year, and or they can grow it. And then we pass them on to Thesis, my fractional CFO company. We help them get leverage through banking or fundraising or whatever, and we take them to $100 million.
I love that.
So the idea is that after my 5-year sprint, I can go hang out with you and live your life, and then do what you do, and then be a little more free of time and energy and focus. And then when I find good operators, a good idea or a bad idea, but like something I'm interested in. So one of those three things, right? Something I'm super interested in, a really, really good idea with high leverage or a really good operator. I could basically say, hey, here's $100,000 to $200,000. Here's a business coach. I'll see you in a year and a half. And just like run them through the gauntlet, you know?
I like that idea of sort of like the bigger vision. I think I'm going to try to say it back and tell me if I got it right. But basically, there's this operating system. A lot of businesses need the same sort of things. And there are other operating systems out there that will say, do X, do Y, do Z. You probably do the same thing, but you're also saying, hey, we also know that it's hard to find the right vendor for X, for Y, for Z. And I can give you that at a certain minimum level of quality that can actually accelerate you. So you can skip that. But, in return for providing a pre-vetted vendor, you're also participating in those rewards by helping these businesses grow.
That's right. Yeah, it's not like it's not like a free platform, right? You're paying for the services as you go, but it is pre-vetted, and they also know the system because they also went through the system themselves. Right. So when you're working with like the salesperson that's going to coach your sales team or help you with your conversion rates, they automatically know that I'm running you through a very specific XYZ framework with a leading and lagging KPIs that they literally know what it's so much faster because they already know what you're trying to do. And so they walk in and going, okay, I know the operating system that Young wants to employ here and what my part is. And so let me help you execute it, and it's a lot of rapid testing and data collection and then reverting back to what returns the best investment and then constantly rapidly testing to beat that one. So everyone knows it. That's what makes it unique, right? It's like you get to run through this gauntlet. And then there's some operators that I have found that don't need it. Like Chris at Blue Ocean is an amazing sales guy. So he doesn't really need as much on that side as he does on the operations and finance side. So then we load him up with more ops and finance and HR stuff than we do with, these other services. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, they're not like required to use them. So if you have natural skills and strengths, yeah, let's lean into it.
That makes sense. If they're already a social media marketing agency, they don't need the record.
Exactly.
Social media marketing. You said that 4 years ago you talked to all these mentors. 100% of them said you were crazy. You probably laid out a plan to them.
Yeah.
4 years in, most plans aren't the same. What's changed? What's changed in the plan?
I'm not going to build all the services, and I'm gonna partner. So I've organized actually I can't say that out loud actually, because there is a good chance I may end up building one. I do want to build a bookkeeping accounting company eventually, so I can't say that. But for right now, I just outsource it, and then I get a referral partnership, right? So they give me business, I give them business, and it ends up being mutually beneficial until one side's lopsided. Then we'll renegotiate, so there's actually some cash involved, but. Right now, it's just like a lot of referral partnerships with these vendors that I trust and like. So, and it's mutually beneficial for us to refer each other business.
Got it. And then you're a year away from all this coming to fruition. What does the finish line look like? Like, is somebody waiting there? Like, you cross a checkered line and it's all champagne, or what does that look like? How do you know when you've arrived?
A couple of things. You will know when I get there because I'm gonna fly you and your family out to Hawaii. And we're going to go stay in Hawaii in Maui, and we're going to celebrate. And I'm going to celebrate you and thank you for influencing me and inspiring me to take this journey. Whether you meant to or not, you pissed me off enough to make me want to do it. And so it's become my...
Hug me or punch me?
I don't know. I'll probably hug you. I mean, maybe a little bit of both, but you will know it because I definitely want to celebrate you, and I want to thank you in a more formal and grandiose gesture. You've literally changed my life, and I'm super appreciative of it, and I definitely will never forget it. And I know it's not like the end result is that important. But to me, it matters that I formally thank you in something that's more material, meaningful way. So you'll know because of that. I'll know.
For you, and it's not only for Maui.
After Maui, you just start becoming my negative Nancy. You're just like the rooting for me just drops. No, thank you for saying that. And I know you've been a huge support and believer along the journey. Not only did you inspire me to start, you've been a really great coach and support system, and you've been wonderful. But before that happens, I'll know, because if everything goes well next year, Owners Club will cash flow for me, Blue Ocean will cash flow for me, Thesis is already starting to cash flow for me. And again, when I say cash flow, I mean like less and less in the business work and more like just kind of portfolio management work while businesses are making me money. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
So we'll have like 4 businesses cash flowing like that, where like if I got hit by a bus and I couldn't work, and my family would be relatively good for at least the next 5 or 10 years, and as long as those businesses kept growing and operating, and that's a good feeling, and then the rest of the 9 should start going over the next 2 or 3 years, just based on momentum, and then I'll keep adding 1 or 2 new businesses every year until I get to 20.
I love everything about that. So, do you have a timeline in mind for when you'll have 20?
Well, I was originally supposed to be in 5 years, but I can't hit that. I can't. So I'm going to stop trying, and I'm just going to extend the 20, but at a much slower pace, much slower pace, and just kind of focus on just being a top of funnel guy. And so I've already started building this as of last year, and I started basically pimping myself out on social media, which has been good and bad. I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of bad to it as well. But I've been posting a lot on LinkedIn, and then building a weekly newsletter. And then last month, we just started on Instagram and TikTok. And so we'll start ratcheting up those channels over the next year as well, too. And then the idea is that eventually I'd love to kind of like personally log off and then let my team just own it, right? And just kind of manage my brand and profile online, because I feel like what's going to happen, and again, this is my thesis. I don't know if it'll be true, but I feel like it's pretty accurate. Once I have an incubator, the thing that I'm going to need is access to capital, access to operators, and then access to deal flow. And so in order to get those 3 things constantly coming in to go get more and more stuff going, I need a funnel. And a funnel will be good if I have a brand out there that people want to work with me, or attracted to me, or know me for something, and they come to me either to start a business, to invest in a business, or to build a business, and I'm hoping they'll think about me, and they'll use my services to continue to grow my portfolio, and also to work with me so that I can build a business with them to also get cash flow from over the course of the next few years. So that's kind of my plan, is that like once I have these things dialed in, I can do less and less maintenance on it, and then focus my attention to just make all the portfolio companies make more money. Just be deal flow maker.
What I really appreciate about what you're saying is that you've clearly thought through like a structure for like what you need and what the inputs are to make this future possible. I think that a lot of people are just like, I want this outcome, but they haven't thought about sort of like the necessary ingredients to get there. And like, I don't know if those are the right ones or whatever, but it sounds plausible.
Yeah, I mean, that's it, right? It's literally inputs and outputs, and that's why I'm excited to talk to you about it, because I know we started talking about it the other day, and I just love this concept and timing. Anything sounds more reasonable if you think about it in that fashion. Okay, so if this is the outcome, what do you need to do to get that to happen, right? Everything sounds more plausible. But what's also awesome is, even if you're wrong, now you're testing data. So once you test it, you can fail it and succeed it and understand how to pivot and adapt it till you get it right. And that's like the main key difference, right? It's like, so what? You don't like... For me, like, I'll give you a better example of like how I do inputs and outputs. Every month I look back on my hours in, right? So I say, okay, I track all my hours, right? So I say, hey, I spent this much time sleeping, this much time with my kids, this much time on this business, this much time this. And then I try to color code it using Clockify, and it's a free app. Anybody can use it. And I just generate these reports. And then I say, how do I feel September 1st? Emotionally, mentally, physically, socially, business-wise, fiscally, all these things, right? And I just mark it and I go, oh, these things I don't like. And then I look at it and compare it to my inputs. So then in September, I just adjust them. And I say, hey, you're now only going to get this amount of time for this thing because you didn't feel good about it this time, and see what that makes you feel at the end of the month. And you just keep doing this. And over time, you realize your inputs have a direct correlation to your outputs. Absolutely, they do. It also allows me to, my wife hates this, but it allows me to separate from people in my life. It literally goes, hey, you're not a good input. I don't want to be around you. And it's nothing like, you're not my enemy, but I just don't want to be associated because it hurts me. And I'm able to do that and have these kind of direct conversations with people. And it's nothing bad. It's just, I'm getting old and I don't have time, and I have to control my inputs.
Yeah. Well, I love this, since this is the Girl Dad Show, and it's also about, it's about business and how you as a busy person, or all of your guests as busy people,
Yeah.
sort of like prioritize and balance children with like, doing ambitious things in their lives. I like the idea that like, like children are kind of like a refining knife for separating the things that matter and the things that don't in your life. And it's just, no matter what, everybody who has kids will find that their time becomes constrained and therefore more precious. So like, if you don't prioritize those remaining hours yourself, they're going to get prioritized for you by other people in ways that are maybe not consistent with your values.
Totally.
Like you're taking a really explicit approach to saying, hey, these are the things that I value. These are the ways I want to feel. And I know that, if I do all these things, they're not consistent with those values. So you're just trying to realign your time usage with your values.
That's a way nicer way of saying it. Yeah, but that's absolutely right. I just don't say it again. Well, I don't have any remorse about it. I don't have any ill will. Like I've had people when I do this to them say, wait, do you hate me? Like, are you like, I'm like, no, we're not enemies. I don't expect you to change for me. It's just like, that's a ridiculous thing for me to ask you to do. But for me, this is where I want to be in 5 years. This is where I want to be in 3 years. This is where I want to be in 1 year. And right now, you're slowing me down from it because you inherit these qualities, and it's just not something I'm interested in. It sounds brutal, but like it's the same concept of like I don't think people heavily underestimate how precious these inputs are. Like it's like it goes back to what you said. It's not just about being a parent. It's about like what you put in is what you get out. So if you put in and you allow things to happen that's not intentional, you're going to get out things that are not intentional. And so when you say, why do these things keep happening to me? I would recommend that you try to track your hours and compare them to how you feel, and then start making these micro adjustments on how you spend your time, because you can quite literally change the direction of your outcomes just by changing your inputs.
I love this. There's a lot of people out there like this. Imagine for the listeners, right? Like shocker. There are some people in the world who are not happy with the state of their life.
Yeah.
Do you have like a quick actionable framework for them to be like, hey, do this, download, I think you said Clockify or whatever.
Yeah.
Like be like, rate yourself on, like Friends, whatever it is, from 1 to 5, and then see how you're spending your time. Like, is there like a rule book for how somebody can do this? Look back a month and then make the recommended change and revisit it to sort of keep improving?
Yeah, start small, but do exactly that. Exactly. It's like start smaller, like don't have a 20-line framework like I do, right? There's like 20 different facets I like to track, but like start with something simple, like yourself, your friends, your family, your work, and I don't know, like your financial health, right? Like start small. Just come with those 5 categories and then rank how you feel about it at the end of every week or at the end of every month. And then just track every hour that you live. And you don't have to be precise even, because over time it'll be benchmarked, right? In the sense that you could average out, like if let's say you had a deviation of like, I don't know, 10 or 15% that you messed up because you're not good at tracking hours. But at the end of the night, you're like, okay, I did about an hour and a half there, 2 hours here, didn't I? Well, who cares? Just ballpark it. Because over time, if you average it, it'll still even out, even if you're deviating a little bit off. So don't think like it has to be like this militant thing, like, hold on, Eric, let's not talk until I clock in that I'm hanging out with my friend. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to do that. You just hang out and then just retrace it, because over time, math will allow you to average it out. But just start tracking it. And if you do it for 2 months, it'll literally change your life, because you'll literally go, okay, well, I had sugar and I felt like shit. And you know what I mean? Oh yeah, I hung out with this person who likes to drink a lot. And then I had really 3 shitty days of recovery because I'm old and I don't recover as fast. It's very obvious, you know what I mean? What you're doing to yourself, and why you're not performing to the way that you want or getting the results you want. In my opinion, it's very obvious after 2 months.
No, I love that. I love that. It's like if you feel like you're disconnected from your friends and you look back a week and you're like, oh, I haven't talked to any of my friends. It's like, well, maybe start talking to your friends, or like,
yeah,
invite someone out for dinner or something like that. Like,
yeah,
it creates clear, actionable outputs or recommended actions or something like that.
Yeah, and if it's wrong, it's okay, because now you'll adjust it, right? You could like basically say, I tested the thesis, and then you could make micro adjustments or massive adjustments to it. But it's a lot easier to adjust something that you've tested versus like just constantly hypothesizing about what could be and what couldn't be, right? Just start. And that's my recommendation. And I recommend it to every single small business owner that I coach, is like, just track your hours, because your business is literally sucking because of you. I mean, it's really the reality, right? Like when people are like, "Oh, my business is stuck, my business doesn't grow, or this is bad." I'm like, as long as you're like sub $10 million, that's basically because you suck.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
So it's not a bad thing. I don't think it's bad to suck. I just think that it's what's controlling the business is you, your behaviors and what you let go and not let go, what you prioritize, how you spend your time, and what you let people spend your time on. Like all of those things are what's making your business suck.
I love that. Thank you for sharing.
Oh gosh, my gosh, this is so fun to be interviewed. So thank you for hosting.
Well, this is great. Like, I can just talk to a friend, and then I don't have to produce the content, and somebody else has to clip it. So, like, it's like I get to play podcast host for a day.
Can I ask you a question before we wrap this one up?
Yeah, please.
Do you agree with this? Because I know we started talking about it, but I think you agree with this concept. And then maybe what do you disagree and agree with the way that I just presented the philosophy and framework?
I don't disagree with any of it. There's a book I really like called Essentialism by Greg McKeown or something like that. It's like I don't know how to say his name. McKeown or something like that. Essentialism. And in it he says something like you need to set your priorities in your time, otherwise somebody will set them for you.
Hmm.
And I think that rings really, really true. So for example, if you're like, we only have 24 hours in a day, 7 days a week, there's 168 hours in the week, and it turns out you can't do it all. Nobody can do it all.
Yeah.
So at a high level, we all accept these things like, these choices lead to these outcomes. But then like if your friend who, just wants to, smoke weed all the time or whatever, like he's like, hey, do you want to come over and hang out with me and smoke weed and whatever? And you're like, let's say you're an ambitious person. You know those two things are in conflict. And it's not that you don't want to hang out with your friend. It's just that that's not consistent with your priorities.
Mm-hmm.
And it can feel hurtful or painful to the counterparty if you're like, no, I don't want to hang out with you, because they see it as a personal attack. But in a way, if they were to demand that you hang out with them, they're asking you to put their priority of socializing with them and smoking weed over your priority of ambition and success or whatever. And that's not really fair. So like I think it's really important for you to be aware and explicit about your priorities. And I think that's what you're doing.
Yeah, it's really uncomfortable for my wife because she sees it as very weird. She's like, it's a very unique way of like tackling the problem. It's kind of uncommon, right? Like literally telling people, because I'm not their enemies, Eric. I'm not like sitting there going, oh, I judge you and I think you're a horrible person. It's just not worth it for me right now. And I have so little time to socialize with people. This time I socialize with people has to be super valuable for me, right? And so it's just like I don't even have I mean, people ask me what shows I've watched, and I'm like, I don't even watch TV. Like, I'm trying to build 20 businesses. Like, I don't think you understand the scale and scope of how little time I have to hang out. Like, it's I'm sacrificing sleep right now just so I can encompass all the other things with my family and my kids. And so, like, it's just so interesting that like that time constraint it forces you to be very, very clear and direct, because you don't have an hour and a half to explain it to someone nicely. You have to explain it in 5 minutes because you really only have 20 minutes to talk to them. You know what I mean? And so, like, everything becomes more direct and just very, very action oriented. Everything you have to do like now. Everything you just have to get it done. You can't just like, oh, I'll talk to him in 2 weeks and I'll plant the seed and then we'll do this in 4 weeks. It's like no, I just got to call him and tell him right now. Like, you got to move because there's just too much to do, And so it's kind of sucky because it's very uncommon and it makes the social environment very weird, And I have to constantly explain to people, no, you're not my enemy. It's just we could be friends later. Let's just be friends when I have more time in 2 years, right? Like.
Yeah.
It's just a hard thing for me to do right now.
I have a lot of empathy for how Amy looks at it too, though.
Yeah.
I think the truth is that everybody does this in some way, shape, or form. And I think the challenge or the conflict with it is probably that like the normal way that people operate socially isn't to be so deliberate about their time or attention allocation. But then that's why the normal way people operate gets them normal results. And you're looking for different than normal results. So you have to apply different than normal tactics. And that's
right. And for those of you listening, I do want normal results, but in like 2 years. So please come back and hang out with me. And I promise I'll be a normal person and I won't be so weird and awkward.
I mean, it's not like larger than life outcomes, like 20 businesses that are, ripping $1 million each.
Yeah.
Like that, right? And so that requires different tools, and this has to be one of the tools, which is to be very, very intentional about where you spend your time and attention.
Thank you for justifying it. I appreciate it. It is definitely a weird one to accommodate right now, and it's hard for me to explain to Amy. But I will say that it's been insanely pivotal. So if anybody is trying to grow their business and they're getting stuck, like you should really think about just temporarily try changing who you hang out with for six
Yeah, and
months.
call Thesis and they'll help you.
Yeah, call me. Yeah, hang out with me and let's go. Let's do this. It's one of the favorite things about you. It's just like you love talking about this stuff. You're just like, I've never met someone that was so open about money and making money and how you make money and breaking down the costs and stuff. It's been really refreshing for me. And then now I just like, now I only hang out with people like that because of you. Yeah, because of you. Like I literally only hang out with people. I'm like, if that's like the barometer for me, it's like if we're not going to talk about how much revenue you make, I don't know if we could be friends, you know?
I just like transparency.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of sharing and learning from
Yeah.
peers and people who are ahead of you and people who are behind you. And I think that a world with more open information is a better one.
Yeah, and you're a philosopher too. I mean, that's something that I've realized over the last 4 years of getting to know you. You're like a thinker. You like to like get into the why of the why of the why. You like root cause everything, and you're like a modern day philosopher. It's really interesting to banter with you because you always like sometimes you do it just for the sake of doing it, but you always like try to like think through everything, even though you agree. And so it's kind of fun. Yeah.
Do you have like a question that you close all your guests with or anything like that?
I do, yeah. When you're not being a super parent and successful in life, what do you do for your downtime?
Excellent. That's my first question for you.
Okay, and then you have to answer it as well. Okay, so I don't have any downtime tasks right now. I just spend it working, and I like this week has been horrible, but like I literally been taking meetings from 7 a.m. to about 5:30. I hang out with my girls for an hour and a half, and then I take meetings from like I don't know, do like 7:30 to like 10, and then I do my emails from 10 to 1. Right? It's just a horrible week. It's been a massively terrible week, but no downtime, right? Any downtime I get, I try to sleep, right? And my meetings are getting so big, like I'm getting so many meetings. They're actually going into the evenings. Like even tonight, I have 3 hours of meetings this evening, like client meetings, because I just don't have time in my week, right? So it's kind of shitty. But my goal is that this time next yearish, when it was my 5 year mark is going to be up, my goal is to actually formally get coached and learn how to be an amazing golfer. So I'm going to try to spend my energy because I can golf, right? And I'm a terrible golfer, but I can golf and I love golfing and it's really fun. And I love drinking while playing sports. I think it's like such a fun thing that you can technically play a sport while you drink. It's awesome. And but I want to be amazing. How cool would that be to be like an incredible golfer, you know? So I want to hyper focus all of this energy and inputs and outputs frameworks into golfing and become an incredible golfer. And I also want to become an incredible boxer. I know, something a little more like aggressive and combative and yeah, so I want to be a great boxer. I've always wanted to box since I was a kid, and I just never did it. Yeah, so those are the two things that I will pick up as my downtime activities as soon as this 5 year plan is over. How about yourself?
Can you ask the question again? Just
So when you're not being a super dad and not being a successful business leader, what do you do for downtime activity?
yeah, downtime activities. Well, I two things. I just like making things, and I like just creative stuff in general. It's like a way for me to relax my mind. So actually, I've got this ukulele on the wall here, which the last time I was at your house, I was playing ukulele stuff. I've like leveled up a ton since then,
Wow.
and I'll shoot you a clip.
Yeah.
But that's been a lot of fun. It's also, it's really great because, from 0 to 1, they're often just sitting there, and I don't like to play with my screens in front of them, and if I do, they'll just like crawl over and also jam on the screen, so it's not really productive anyways. With the ukulele, it's something that I can like occupy my mind while looking at them and engaging them, and they see my eyes, and I can sing to them. If they hear it, it doesn't feel to them like my attention is somewhere else, but like it lets me use my mind at the same time.
That's awesome, man.
So I've got one in my office, and I have a lot of meetings that are like they finish 7 minutes early, and I'm like, what am I gonna do with 7 minutes? And
I
so,
love
like,
that.
That dead 7 minutes just becomes me tinkering. So that's been a lot of fun for me.
Dude, I got to do that too. I got to get good at ukulele. But hey, I'm going to add one more thing to the success criteria. Not only am I going to take you and your family to Hawaii with me, I'm going to buy us matching ukuleles while we're there. That'll be part of it. That'd be so fun, dude. Yeah, I got to get good at that. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I saw that you started practicing it. I didn't realize you were still sticking with it. I can't wait to hear you play, man. It's amazing. Oh, yeah, do it, and I'm excited.
Yesterday
Dude, you got hella good. Dude, okay, so for context, just in case you do call me out on it, I just want to golf as half as good as you got on ukulele. So when I said I want to be good at golfing, I just want to be half as good as you are.
But like I just literally like I just started like playing like between things, playing with the kids. I'd like learn
Yeah,
a riff, and then like you get like an hour where the kid's just like there, and you can't leave, you can't play on a computer, you can't whatever. And
yeah,
so just like I got a lot of reps in. So
dude,
this
I
kind
love
of
it.
goes with your inputs and outputs thesis. It's like
10,000 hours too.
I
There's another. Who's the guy that wrote the book about mass outliers? No, 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 not out. Oh no, it is outliers. Yeah,
that is.
10,000 hours, man. You got 10,000 hours. You become a pro at anything, you know.
So we answered your question. Now I get a question, right?
Okay, go for it.
My closing question for you is: you've changed your life. You've started this podcast. You moved to Texas. So much of your life has changed in the last 5 years: career, location, vision. Most people don't have that. If your listeners, your followers, got to learn one lesson from you, one life lesson from everything you've been through, what is that lesson?
I'm gonna give you the honest answer, even though
Don't do it.
it's not good. You know what I mean? I think just have gratitude and be happy with what you have. Gratitude is all based on perspective and not thinking that the grass is greener on the other side. If I can go back and just be a W-2, knowing everything that I know right now, I'd be happy as a clam. The stress was not worth it. It's not worth it at all. Yeah, it's way better to just have 2 weeks off that goes into 3 weeks after 3 years, and then goes into 4 weeks after 4 years, and just like, have someone else worry about the business. You just take your salary, get your increasing vacation time with your kids, and live that middle class life as best you can, and just lower your expectations and enjoy the other elements of your life, because it's a beautiful life if you can be grateful for it. And you just got to stop wondering what if, or thinking that you deserve more or need more. And just perspective and gratitude for what you have.
I love that. What a great closing note. And thank you for joining me on my podcast.
Eric, thanks again for doing this, man. I owe you another one. Appreciate it, brother. We'll talk soon, okay?